mrbeats, a popular YouTuber known for exploring the dark side of social media, was famous for his horror stories and eerie experiences. But this time, what he would encounter was beyond even his wildest imagination. One day, mrbeats received a mysterious email. The message contained only one sentence: "Step inside the door of the abandoned house, discover true fear." The email also included coordinates to an old, long-abandoned house located in the outskirts of the city. This was exactly the kind of invitation that would pique his interest. mrbeats gathered his cameras and all the necessary equipment and set off immediately. By the time he reached the neighborhood where the house was located, the sun was slowly setting. As he arrived at the house, the darkness and silence surrounding it created an unsettling atmosphere. The door was slightly ajar, and a deep coldness emanated from inside. He gently pushed the door open and stepped inside. The interior of the house bore the dust, mold, and rust of many years. With each step, the wooden floor creaked, and the old furniture stood like silhouettes in the dark corners. mrbeats began recording and started narrating his exploration of the house to his viewers. However, after a while, he started to sense that something was wrong. It felt as if something or someone was watching him from within the house. Strange whispers echoed in the corridors, and faint noises came from rooms that should have been empty, making his hair stand on end. A few minutes later, he noticed something on the camera screen. A shadow briefly appeared at the corner of the screen, as if it were following him. "What is that?" mrbeats whispered, his heart racing. He moved towards the room where the shadow had disappeared. He slowly opened the door and looked inside. The room was empty, but he was sure something was there. At that moment, he saw movement in an old mirror standing in the middle of the room. His reflection wasn't looking at him. The mirror showed a dark corridor, longer and darker than the house itself. mrbeats recoiled in fear. Suddenly, the reflection lunged at him as if it were going to leap out of the mirror and grab him. Panicking, he fled the room and ran out of the house. Out of breath, mrbeats paused for a moment and turned to look back at the house. But the house was no longer there. The abandoned house had vanished, as if it had been swallowed by the shadows. When he returned home, he tried to piece together his experience into a video. But as soon as he finished editing and prepared to upload it, he discovered the file had been deleted. All the footage had disappeared, just like the shadowy house. He never found any trace of that house again. But at night, he continued to feel those cold whispers and that dark shadow. And this mystery remained a constant, haunting presence in mrbeats' mind. The story ends here, but what mrbeats experienced never truly leaves him. The secret of that house may never be uncovered.